In the shadowed silence before dawn, the mind awakens, not with peace, but with an unrelenting storm. Thoughts clash like thunder, doubts flash like lightning, and fears echo in an endless loop. Imagine standing on the edge of a vast abyss. Behind you, the fragile comfort of familiarity. Before you, the daunting unknown. This is life's cruel test, an unending battle between the will to rise and the force that threatens to shatter you. What happens when every limit you've known is pushed beyond its breaking point? When the walls you built to protect yourself begin to crumble, and the weight of existence presses so hard it threatens to crush your very soul? Will you break, or will you shatter? Friedrich Nietzsche, the philosopher who dared to stare into the abyss and refuse to blink, argued that life is no gentle journey. It is a brutal, relentless crucible designed to test our strength to its furthest edges. There is no middle ground. You are either breaking your limits, overcoming, evolving, becoming stronger, or life breaks you, leaving you fractured and defeated. This is the terrifying and liberating truth at the heart of Nietzsche's philosophy. But what does it truly mean to break limits? How does this brutal test shape our minds, our spirits, and the very fabric of society? And more importantly, how can we face this merciless trial without succumbing? Tonight, we journey beyond the comforting illusions of ease and safety. We descend into the depths of human struggle, resilience, and transformation. Through the lens of Nietzsche's brutal philosophy, we will uncover the raw, unfiltered reality that life demands. Either you break limits or you are broken by life. Are you ready to face the abyss? Because the test begins now. The abyss awaits. Will you rise or fall? The world you think you know, the one built on clear lines between good and evil, right and wrong, is a fragile illusion. Friedrich Nietzsche shattered this comforting mirror. Born in 1844, in the small German town of Rücken, Nietzsche's life was a study in contradiction, a brilliant scholar haunted by illness, a passionate rebel confined by society's rigid moral codes. Yet it was through this struggle that he forged one of the most radical and brutal philosophies the world had ever seen. Nietzsche rejected the very foundation upon which Western morality rested. To him, the binary of good versus evil was not a timeless truth, but a social construct, a chain forged by centuries of religious dogma and cultural tradition designed to limit human potential, suppress desire, and enforce conformity. Beyond good and evil, Nietzsche proclaimed, is where true freedom lies. He argued that modern morality, steeped in Christian values, glorified weakness, celebrating humility, meekness, and self-denial, while demonizing strength, passion, and ambition. This slave morality, as he called it, enslaved the human spirit under the guise of righteousness. But what if good and evil are not absolutes? What if the very labels we cling to are tools of control designed to keep us small, docile, and predictable? At the core of Nietzsche's vision is the will to power, an irrepressible force driving all life not merely to survive, but to thrive, to assert, to dominate, to create. It is the engine of growth, struggle, and transformation. Breaking limits is not optional, it is the essence of life itself. From this fire, Nietzsche conceived the idea of the Übermensch, the overman, or superman, an individual who rises above the herd, shattering societal norms and forging their own path. This is the ultimate act of self-overcoming, transcending the constraints imposed by others and by one's own fears. Yet Nietzsche's vision does not offer comfort or safety. It demands radical courage. It demands embracing suffering, chaos, and solitude as the crucibles through which greatness is born. And then there is the haunting concept of eternal recurrence, the terrifying possibility that all events in life repeat infinitely, forcing us to confront whether we would willingly live our lives over and over unchanged. This is the ultimate test. Do you live in such a way that you would embrace this endless cycle, or are you trapped by regrets, limits, and illusions? For Nietzsche, breaking limits means rejecting the easy answers. It means dismantling the morality that shames ambition and desire. It means wrestling with the darkest parts of yourself and society and choosing to rise anyway. At the time, Nietzsche's ideas were incendiary. He was dismissed as mad, dangerous, even evil. His philosophy cut deep because it tore away the comforting veil behind which humanity often hides. But today, his brutal vision offers a mirror, reflecting the truths we too often avoid. Are we willing to look beyond good and evil, to break the chains of imposed morality, to summon the courage to face the chaos within and without? This is the path Nietzsche demands, a path where breaking limits is not a luxury, but a brutal necessity. As we peel back the layers of this radical philosophy, we must prepare to question everything we thought we knew about right, wrong, and what it means to truly live. Imagine a moment so intense, so overwhelming, that everything you believed about yourself shatters in an instant. A sudden loss, a crushing failure, a betrayal so deep it shakes the foundation of your being. At this precipice, most people face the same brutal choice: surrender to the breaking point or transform. Friedrich Nietzsche knew this moment well. His philosophy does not romanticize comfort or safety. Instead, it thrusts us into the psychological crucible where growth is born from pain and limits are shattered by chaos. The human mind is trapped in an eternal conflict, the primal urge to seek comfort, security, and ease versus the harsh, often terrifying necessity to push beyond those boundaries. Modern psychology confirms what Nietzsche called the will to power, the drive not merely to survive, but to overcome. Resilience is not just bouncing back, it is an evolutionary leap through suffering. Take post-traumatic growth, a phenomenon where individuals endure trauma, not only to recover, but to emerge stronger, wiser, more authentic. The broken self becomes the foundation for a new self. But this transformation is no fairy tale. It requires facing rejection, solitude, and chaos, the very forces our brains are wired to avoid. At the mental breaking point, the line between collapse and evolution is razor thin. Neuroscience shows us how adversity rewires the brain, building new neural pathways through struggle. Psychologists call it stress-related growth, where the hardest trials reshape identity and unlock hidden reserves of strength. Cinematic stories of survival and reinvention echo this truth. Think of the athlete who rises from career-ending injury to reach new heights, or the artist whose pain fuels creative genius. Yet many never make it past the breaking point. Instead, they cling to comfort zones, numbing their pain with distractions and denial. Nietzsche's brutal philosophy cuts through this facade, demanding honesty. Are you breaking your limits, or letting life break you? The answer shapes your very existence. Suffering, rejection, and chaos become the forge where authenticity is hammered out. Without them, the self remains brittle, fragile, and dependent on external validation. To truly break limits means to embrace the uncomfortable truth that growth demands pain, that strength is forged in fire. This is the paradox of human transformation. The darkest moments carry the seeds of profound renewal. Yet it is not suffering alone that creates change. It is the conscious choice to face it, to wrestle with inner demons and emerge transformed. Nietzsche's vision aligns with modern psychological wisdom. Transformation is a courageous act of will, a radical refusal to remain a victim of circumstance. The path is not easy. It is littered with setbacks, doubt, and loneliness. But those who endure the mental storm find themselves reborn, stronger and freer than before. In this crucible of chaos, limits break, but so do the chains that bind the spirit. So, where do you stand? Are you willing to step into the storm, to confront the chaos within and break your limits? Or will you retreat to the safety of familiar pain, letting life shatter you instead? The choice is brutal, the test is relentless, but the rewards, authentic strength, freedom, and transformation are beyond measure. Behind the facade of civilization lies a silent war, a battle not waged with guns or armies, but with ideas, control, and conformity. Friedrich Nietzsche warned us, society is a cage, not of iron bars, but of invisible chains woven from ideology, culture, and power. These chains bind us, suppressing the individual will and crushing the fierce urge to break limits. In Nietzsche's eyes, the herd mentality is humanity's greatest enemy, a collective passivity that demands obedience, uniformity, and mediocrity. The crowd chooses safety over greatness, comfort over challenge, conformity over authenticity. But who benefits from this? Who profits when millions are tamed into docile followers? Look closely, and you will see the intricate machinery of control. Mass media floods the mind with distraction and fear, turning unique voices into echoes. Political correctness policies thought, enforcing a narrow corridor of acceptable beliefs that stifle dissent and creativity. Social media, the new Colosseum, feeds us endless validation but traps us in echo chambers where real growth is impossible. It sedates rebellion with likes, shares, and curated images, turning potential revolutionaries into passive consumers. Mass consumerism pushes endless consumption as the path to happiness, an illusion that keeps us chasing more, never enough, trapped in a cycle of dependence and distraction. Nietzsche's brutal philosophy exposes this social suffocation. The individual's will to break limits collides with a system designed to keep them broken, compliant, and controlled. History is littered with examples, from totalitarian regimes crushing dissent to subtle cultural norms that shame ambition and prize obedience. The powerful engineer consent not with chains, but with carefully constructed narratives that make submission seem natural. But this is not just politics, it's psychological warfare, the battle for your mind. Are you aware of the invisible forces shaping your thoughts, your fears, your desires, the social codes that silence your inner voice, the herd mentality whispering, don't stand out, don't challenge, don't break? Yet Nietzsche's vision is a call to arms. To break free from the crushing weight of societal expectation, you must reclaim your autonomy. You must resist the comforting lies of conformity and embrace the terror of true freedom, the freedom to break your limits, to stand alone, to be different. This fight is personal and political. It demands courage to reject the easy approval of the herd and endure isolation if necessary. It requires relentless self-awareness to spot the subtle manipulations and refuse them, because the moment you accept the role of the broken individual, the compliant cog, you surrender your power. But when you dare to defy, to break limits, you awaken a force the herd fears, authentic individuality. So the question remains, will you choose to be shaped by society's crushing hand, or will you rise, break free, and reclaim your true self? The war for the soul of the individual has never been more intense. In a world drowning in comfort and distraction, breaking limits has become the most dangerous and necessary act of rebellion. Today, complacency is the silent killer. We live surrounded by endless distractions, social media feeds designed to numb, instant gratification fueling addiction, and a culture that celebrates victimhood over valor. External validation has become currency, and too many surrender their power seeking approval from faceless crowds. But Nietzsche's brutal wisdom cuts through this haze. Breaking limits is not about cruelty or harshness toward others. It is about courage. Courage to look inward with ruthless honesty, to strip away illusions, and to face the discomfort that true growth demands. Self-overcoming is a daily battle. It begins with radical honesty, acknowledging your fears, your weaknesses, and the parts of yourself you'd rather hide. Only when you confront these shadows can you begin to transcend them. Relentless self-reflection becomes your compass, guiding you through the chaos of modern life, helping you resist the seductive traps of complacency and passivity. And then there is discomfort, the crucible of transformation. Most flee discomfort, seeking ease and certainty. Yet Nietzsche's philosophy demands we embrace it, because only in discomfort do limits break. Only through challenge do we evolve. Practical steps emerge from this philosophy. Question everything, especially your own beliefs and biases. Reject the safety of conformity, even when it isolates. Runs. Build resilience by facing small daily struggles with intention. Runs. Recognize the trap of victim mentality and reclaim responsibility for your life. Cultivate patience. Transformation is a marathon, not a sprint. But beware, Nietzsche's ideas are often misunderstood. They are not a license for domination or cruelty. True breaking of limits is about inner mastery, compassion born from strength, and the courage to walk a solitary path if necessary. It is about becoming the architect of your own destiny, not a tyrant over others. In a society that often rewards the opposite, compliance, convenience, and comfort, choosing to break limits is radical. It is a rebellion against the forces that would see you broken. So as you stand at this crossroads, ask yourself, will you settle for a life shaped by ease and external approval? Or will you embrace the brutal struggle, shatter your limits, and forge a path defined by courage and transformation? The choice is yours. Breaking limits is the fiercest act of freedom. Life is an unforgiving arena, a battlefield where every moment demands strength or surrender. Nietzsche saw it with brutal clarity. Existence is a relentless test, a storm that spares no one. It asks not if you will face hardship, but how. Will you break your limits and carve your own path, or will life's crushing weight shatter you into pieces? This choice is not abstract. It is visceral. It is the heartbeat in your chest, the restless fire in your soul. You stand now on the edge of possibility, staring into an abyss of unknowns, where fear battles courage, where weakness vies with willpower. Breaking limits is not for the faint of heart. It demands vulnerability, sacrifice, and radical honesty with yourself. Yet, it is the only way to transcend the mundane, to reclaim your power from the forces that would see you broken and docile. Remember, surrender is easy. It lulls you with false comfort and quiet despair. Breaking limits is hard, it is terrifying, but it is freedom. As Nietzsche's philosophy whispers through the ages, it calls you to awaken, to become the architect of your destiny, to wrest control from chaos, and to live deliberately, fiercely, fully. So ask yourself, when the storm rages, will you stand firm? Will you break your limits, or will life break you? The answer defines your story. This is your crucible, your moment of truth. Step forward, break your limits, or be broken. The choice is yours. The battle is eternal.